Welcome, dear audience, to our fourth webinar series of webinar in a series of four of Coversatile. And today's topic is the workforce ramp up on short notice and in times of need. And as you may have seen in Europe, we are facing again the pandemic. People are talking about the next variant Omicron, and I guess we will have to deal with all those topics for a while. Even maybe we have thought that this is already gone and over. So therefore, I guess Coversatile is still state of the art, and we would like to present you today topics on workforce ramp up. After a brief introduction from my side, we will start with the first topic of reimagining workforce ramp up through extended reality, interactive training. Then we have the topic of effective management of corporate skills evolution in changing competitive environments. And we have the third topic of augmented, mixed and virtual reality tools supporting systematic knowledge sharing throughout the company. And I guess that are very relevant topics, not only, but especially in the pandemic situation. And I hope you will see a lot of connecting points to your own corporate, to your own environment. We will close with a panel discussion, and here we will also have our coordinator, Robert Lofasch from Starkey, represented. So let me remind you what Coversatile is about. So Coversatile is one of four projects which are funded by the European Commission to repurpose manufacturing environments for vital medical supplies and equipment. So next to us, we have the project Eureka, Reservist and Impure. And all together, we aim to react on this COVID-19 situation and provide solutions you can use as customer, as industrial supplier, to also ramp up and reorganize your manufacturing setting. So altogether, Coversatile consists of 20 partners from 21 partners from different countries. So our coordinator, as already mentioned, is Starkey, Institute for Computer Science and Control in Hungary. And then we have members from Austria, Germany, Hungary, Israel, Italy, Netherlands, Spain, Switzerland, and the UK. And it's a very ambitious project. We have only a period of 24 months. And within that 24 months, of course, we aim to deliver practical solutions which support the manufacturing industry in repurposing manufacturing. So the first half of the project is finished now, and that was the reason why we said, okay, now it's time to present everything to the outside world. And maybe you have missed already, maybe you have seen already the first 3 webinars, maybe you hadn't have the chance to join, but let me say there is still the opportunity to have a look at it. So just go to the replay area and look on our introductory webinar, where we also introduced the Digital Technopole as our commercial vehicle to offer solutions. The topic of resilient supply chains was tackled, and last week we had to scale up production. And today was the fourth webinar and the final one for this year. We will deal with the topic of workforce ramp up. Before we go into the topics, let me briefly explain the concept of Coversatile again. So Coversatile consists of 2 main parts. The first one is the manufacturing settings. Here we work on the industry demand oriented regarding the topics of reusable silicon mask, electrostatic disinfection, ramp up of production of ventilators, machine for FFP2 mask production, resilient automation for manufacturing. And of course, those topics require technology, and the technology is included in our digital technopole approach. As I already mentioned, this is the this is the approach also to bring the solution and offer the solutions to the outside world and connect with the manufacturing industry in the European Union. And here we have topics as like manufacturing simulation, supply network simulation and risk management, automation and system integration, as well as the topic of today, certification and training. And of course, with some other partners on topic of replication and sustainability and policies and ethics, which of course are required to launch such a platform. So this is the concept of Coversatile, and with this concept, we are able to deliver solutions to the manufacturing industry. And of course, those challenges are connected to our approach. So what we are dealing with is the adoption of manufacturing processes for upscaling of production. We have the reconfiguration and re-evaluation of industrial supply chains, and I guess this is a quite hot topic because you can see that logistic supply chains are still a major issue in the current current economic situation, and that there are a lot of breakages in the ordinary supply chain. So this is a hot topic and also affects, of course, industry quite strongly. And the topic of today is then workforce ramp up. And I will not go too much into detail. That I will leave to my colleagues in the project. And so, with having said that, we will start with the first topic. And the first topic I already announced is reimagining workforce ramp up through extended reality interactive training. And it's about quickly ramp up of newly hired personnel in manufacturing environments and changing competitive conditions like the pandemics. And you will also get an insight on the advantage of digital tools. You will learn about the training packages that manufacturers can benefit from when adopting Coversatile production lines. And to hear more about that topic, I would like to invite, first of all, James Kirby. He is an engineer in the digital manufacturing tools team at HSSMI. Welcome, James. Great to have you here. Yeah.
Hi, Christian.
Hi, good morning. So James specializes in computer-aided design and deployment of new technology solutions for the manufacturing engineering industry. So recently, James has been using real-time engines to deploy 3D simulation and augmented reality applications to benefit the automotive manufacturing sector. And James is part of the engineering team developing digital training packages for the Coversatile project. The second person I would like to invite to join is Katarina Demme. And Katarina, hello, nice to see you.
Hello.
Katarina, you are Project Management Coordinator at HSSMI, and your job is to ensure that the project she's responsible for delivered on time, on budget, and to the highest standards. And you have previously managed electric battery and circular economy research projects, and you are the main contact person of HSSMI training package deliverable within this project. So I would like to invite you to tell us more about reimagining workforce ramp up.
Okay, thank you, Christian. I'm going to share my slides with you. Okay, could you confirm, please? You can see my screen.
Yes, we can see
it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Go on. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll talk about reimagining workforce ramp up through interactive training with you today. So let me first introduce you to HCIE. We are a UK sustainable manufacturing innovation consultancy. We have offices in the UK in London, Birmingham, and Glasgow. We work across manufacturing industries to help companies respond to market challenges by increasing productivity, transitioning towards a circular economy, and upscaling their products and processes. In this infographic on the screen, you can see our expertise areas, which includes manufacturing strategy, digital manufacturing, lean manufacturing and automation, battery technology, hydrogen propulsion, e-drives, and circular economy. Our main role in this project is to deliver specific training materials for each manufacturing setting that would allow the workforce to access digital work instructions and engineering data remotely. These training materials can be used for offline operator training to speed up the time taken to upskill engineers for faster launch, also for product awareness training to optimize the manufacturing process development, and for assistive training to ensure quality throughout production. I think we all agree that highly skilled and multi-skilled workforce in manufacturing industry is in high demand. Skill shortages and gaps related to digital transition unfortunately lead to bottlenecks. And on top of that, due to the recent pandemic, many manufacturing companies were faced with unexpected challenges. Many had to reevaluate their business processes, pay close attention to cost management just to stay competitive and sustainable. Changing competitive conditions requires a quick ramp up of newly hired personnel or also reskilling of the existing staff. The pandemic also exposed many systemic problems companies have with traditional training and communications. Remote and essential employees often struggled to access relevant operational information. And with the COVID restrictions, the option of in person training vanished when offices closed, face to face meetings and travels were cancelled. So, to mitigate this, the benefit of digital tools, virtual reality and extended reality allows large numbers of operators to be trained quickly in an almost asynchronous manner. Companies that are agile and embrace digital transformation and modern digital learning tools are usually better prepared to cope with the crisis because they can respond much quicker. So, in summary, high quality training allows to reboard laid off and furloughed employees or onboard new ones. Also, reskill employees who may have to learn new jobs or tasks to ensure the business could continue operating with fewer staff. In other scenarios, new skills would be required to respond to new automation and digital transformation strategies in a company. Also, train operators about new offerings, programs, product services, and processes much quicker. And finally, of course, share new policies and procedures with the team. As I mentioned before, the maintenance manuals kept on site are very often in a paper based form, which are generally not preferred in practical scenarios due to the difficulties of navigating 2D drawings that are complex to match with on site equipment. The common problem also of using outdated or obsolete documents and the use of outdated drawings, specifications, or procedures could easily be reduced by providing engineers with information digitally instead, which can be displayed in computers or tablets that use a centralized source of truth to extract the data. Digital manufacturing tools can serve various training purposes. On the screen, you can see some of the examples of our previous work. E-manuals in immersive environment can be used for training on equipment, maintenance, and operation. 3D PDFs are great for illustrating assembly processes, and 3D viewers allow to illustrate product teardown in detail. I'm going to share this results of this project called Ventilator Challenge UK. It took place in spring last year. In response to coronavirus pandemic, our company, together with a consortium of partners, helped to deliver a rapid production scale-up of medical ventilators to meet the urgent demands from the UK National Health Service. So we supported the repurposing of an automotive engine production facility at Ford's Dagenham engine plant to produce those ventilators. Our team used a 360-degree video scanning technology to create a virtual interactive environment of the Pennon factory and also 3D PDF work instructions to train operators remotely before being deployed in the production line. So this is an excellent example of how digital tools can be used in a crisis situation to support collaboration, provide remote access to documentation, and train operators that are not able to access the facility at that point. And now we have our first poll question to you. If you could please open the polls tab on the right-hand side of your screen and pick one of the 5 answers. The question to you is, what digital training tools are you using in your organization most often? So you could pick A, web-based training, for example, virtual classes or webinars, those are instructor-led materials, or B, e-learning, which is the self-study type, C, digital user guidelines, manuals, or instructions, D, training simulation, which could be virtual reality, augmented, or mixed reality. And finally, E, you may not be using digital tools in your company because you're reliant on hands-on, on-the-job training. If you make a choice, I will move on now, but we'll get back to the answers at the end of my presentation. Okay, let's move on. I'll tell you a bit now about how e-manuals are created. So our digital manuals combine machine information with 3D CAD data. You can see the process to aid maintenance engineers on the shop floor. The e-manuals integrate 3D PDF features with multiple data sources, such as CAD drawings, product attributes, process steps, and bill of materials. So this provides engineers on the shop floor access to the most up-to-date information about the machines, the spare parts, maintenance tasks, as well as the ability to interact with the information in a way that's intuitive and easy to understand. This displayed CAD data allows machine parts to be pinpointed virtually beforehand, avoiding large-scale disassembly and providing access to engineering data that's required for repair functions and spare parts ordering. So these digital manuals are then complemented with the corresponding visual job plans, which provide digital instructions to the engineers for each specific maintenance task. The documents include 3D animations as well for each step to facilitate the visualization of the process. So that's on the high level. This one is the process of creating digital work instructions in gaming engines. It's somewhat similar. Products or manufacturing machines, 3D CAD can be translated and imported into a 3D immersive environment where the geometry can be visualized. We take the source manufacturing input data and then integrate it with the pre-configured project template to provide a level of interactions for the user. For instance, being able to click through a step-by-step sequence of text instructions whilst 3D CAD is being animated. In terms of performance, we also find that gaming engines are a lot more capable of handling large and complex CAD files compared to PDF platform. However, of course, there's definitely a larger technical development required to produce an output in a gaming engine. And finally, the steps that we take to create training packages in a form of e-course is, of course, gather the input data in a text format, images, videos, links. Then we choose and agree the template with the client, populate the templates with the content information, add the animations, navigation. Then, of course, we need to test it, gather the feedback, and incorporate it into the next iteration before we optimize it, produce the final version, and publish on a chosen platform. Okay, so this is the first manufacturing setting example of Coversatile that I want to talk about. So it's the one where a group of partners for one of Coversatile production lines, silicone masks, come together, led by ML Engraving. The partners innovate and deploy high-performance silicone reusable face masks. The training package that is being developed by HCIE aims at creating a manual for maintenance and operation in 3D PDF format to support new employees in the correct use of the molding machines. And you can see the demonstration on the right. The e-manual includes information on both the mask and the molding process, and step-by-step instructions for the mask molding will help to better support the operators with the correct execution of the complete molding process. And in the second half of the project, the training materials will be updated and finalized before tested on field with the real workers. The second one, for the electrostatic disinfectant spray deliverable, the partners focus on technologies and product design processes for developing and scaling up non-contact disinfection spray systems based on already existing electrostatic spraying innovation from Technostatic company. This unique electrostatic spraying technology reduces the disinfection time from a few hours just to a few minutes. The main goal of this manufacturing setting in terms of training is to create instructions on how to operate this disinfectant spraying equipment. And a real-time 3D creation tool is used for showing the parts of the disinfectant backpack in more detail and for providing animated instructions to the backpack operator. So I will now hand over to James, my colleague, who will demonstrate to you the work that we are doing to create the how-to guide.
Thanks, Katarina. Yeah, so this is just a quick video of the CAD data that we received from Technostatic, and it's just a quick kind of snippet to show how the 3D model is shown in the 3D environment. Basically, the translation process is all handled by the gaming engine, and interactions can be built upon this. So it's very good for training people who haven't had access to the actual physical device, but also it's useful to see what's inside without having to get your hands on the actual device as well.
Thank you, James. So this is another one, another manufacturing setting here to create an e-manual for medical ventilator assembly. We're adopting the comprehensive instruction manual in a classical form that has been shared with us by DEMCON into a 3D format, and you can see the demo on the screen. So this will improve the insights and understanding of the process in a more efficient way, in particular for newly hired personnel. The manual contains the several information fields, the animated CAD, step-by-step instructions of the ventilator assembly, and the next activities, again, we'll see the initial testing and training of this training material with DEMCON employees, and we'll need to validate the defined approach and possible need for improvement. And this manufacturing setting is focusing on the development of high capacity solution for facial mask production based on DEMCON's modular face mask machine. You can see the machine on the screen. It has 5 main modules, starting from the right, material in feed, then nose clip and contour welding, print and strap application, folding, and finally fold welding, contour cutting, and outfit. So the main goal for us in terms of training is to create an e-manual that's capable of instructing the workforce in the assembly line more efficiently, which should help to achieve a faster production ramp-up. We used operator instructions for the mouth mask machine and 3D CAD of the machine from DEMCON to create a 3D PDF module containing the information about the constituent part of the machine that operators need to be familiar with and instructions on how to operate each of the machine's modules. Next, we proceeded to integrate the machine's CAD into the game engine, which has the benefit of allowing the user to see the model in much higher detail. So once this work will be complete, it will be tested with DEMCON team. And now James will kindly guide you through the demonstration of the training manuals in 3D PDF and game engine for the face mask machine.
Yeah, so in this video we've got the mask machine inside a regular PDF viewer, and it's basically just a bit like an offline web page. So in this particular example, we've got sub-pages and buttons to navigate to the actual sections where we've got the 3D model. So I'm just quickly opening a quick module of Module A, and in this we've got a sequence of animations that will play through the 3D CAD as it animates, and you can put text and attach it to objects to show the user what each section is, whilst moving the 3D model, but also moving the camera to view in a better position. So once this animation is finished, you can actually use your mouse or your fingers, if it's on a tablet, to zoom in and manipulate the 3D CAD as if it was on a more complex CAD platform. So yeah, as in a method to deploy this in an industrial setting, we find it very useful. It's lightweight and it can be deployed to most devices, so Windows, Apple, and Linux. And this one is the same CAD model, but inside a gaming engine. And we find that the performance is a lot more smoother. It can handle a lot more data than the PDF platform, which is understandable. But yeah, I guess the downside is you need a bigger machine that can power this application. But yeah, as a use case, we find it could be infinitely more useful. You could, on top of this layer of visualization, you can code in some interactions. So there's templates where you can put this into a VR headset or an augmented reality headset and explore this model, but also on PC like it is now. And then on top of that, you could add the interactions in and provide a level of intuition for the user, say instructions and step-by-step sequences to take something apart or attach something or replace a part or an object, I guess for the manufacturing maintenance scenario. And yeah, that's a quick overview.
Yeah. Thank you, James. That was very helpful. I'll move on to the next slide now. So this is the final manufacturing setting, which deals with the development of a reconfigurable robotic cell for the rapid production of rapid repurposing, of the manufacturing process. So our partner MTC is aiming to share the knowledge that they are building around the robotic cell setup, upgrade, and modeling with other companies who wish to implement the same approach or similar solutions. And we are supporting this effort by creating an interactive e-course with an intuitive interface containing these best practices for robot systems that will act as a general guide for companies that want to undertake the same flexible robotics approach. You can see a couple of screenshots from that e-course. And this is our next poll question to you. Please choose between the 4 answers. And the question is whether you believe that digital tools help achieve workforce ramp up and production ramp up based on what you've heard today from us. So you can pick A, yes, definitely you do agree. B, you may need more information, for example, on cost or time or other resources that are required. C, you may not be sure about the benefits to your company. Or D, you don't think that digital tools can help achieve those outcomes. And so finally, if we wanted, we could share the findings from the deliverables work that we've done so far on these training packages. First and foremost, good quality of inputs are absolutely paramount. So when we have clear instructions for the workforce and detailed CAD, that makes for a much higher quality output. Also, regular communications with the clients and reviews and feedback from the users are very important. It will help to improve the training package and make it as useful as possible. Real-life testing with end users, of course, is essential, and enough time should be allowed for the data formatting, cleaning, and preparation. And of course, that will be dependent on the complexity of the work that needs to be done. So thank you very much for your interest. If you have any questions or you'd like to talk to us about any of the services that we do or find out more information on the Coversatile work that we do, please contact us on the website below or email our inquiries. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Katarina. Thank you, James, for this overview on how extended reality interactive training can support companies, especially in times like the current ones. And yeah, we will meet each other later on in the panel discussion. For the time being, I'd like to thank you for the presentation. And we are moving now forward to the second topic, and this is effective management of corporate skills in changing competitive environments. And for that, we have Katarina Szymomska with us. Hello, good morning, Katarina.
Good morning, Christian. Good morning, everyone.
So you're organizational psychologist specialist in socio-technical systems and human factors, and you have more than 10 years experience in working in large multidisciplinary research projects, and through that you have gained experience in Industry 4.0 and changing nature of work, user-centered research, accidental analysis and prevention, as well as knowledge management, collaborative technologies, organizational change, professional development and training. So quite a huge base you have developed, and you're working at Deep Blue as a project manager and senior human factors and UX consultants. You joined Deep Blue in 2017, and you worked before as a research fellow at the Social Technical Center at Leeds University Business School in the UK. So, and you will tell us about how this effective management and of corporate skills can be done. And yeah, so I guess the floor is yours.
Thank you, Christian. Welcome, everyone. Thank you very much for joining our fourth seminar. So today I will be speaking about the effective management of corporate skills evolution in changing competitive environments. I am from an organization called Deep Blue. We are a small medium enterprise based in Italy. We are a research and consultancy company with over 20 years of experience applying human factors in complex operational contexts and also safety critical sectors, such as transportation, healthcare, manufacturing, and also ICT. We have a number of different services, one of which is the focus on the skills and workforce and the changes that are happening as a result of various changes happening and influencing the world of work. And what we try to do as part of that service is to explore and anticipate the type of impact that the different changes will have on the workplace by analyzing possible future scenarios and new or adapted workforce profiles, and identifying what is needed by the organizations and by individuals to ensure performance, efficiency, and safety during these evolving times and evolving requirements and demands. We have a very multidisciplinary team. It's about 60 of us now at the moment. And we have competencies in areas such as engineering, computer science, psychology. So I'm an organizational psychologist, but we also have sociologists, human factors experts, communication and interaction design or web design, characteristics and backgrounds. Okay. As part of Coversatile, we have 3 members of staff. So it's me working as a project manager for Coversatile in the blue. We also have Linda Napoletano, who is a human factors and validation expert, as well as Erika Vanucci, who is our human factors and design researcher. So the 3 of us are the main points of contact for Coversatile. We've all been involved in many projects looking at skills and the future of the workforce and how the workers and the organizations need to adapt. So if you have any questions at any point, please feel free to contact us for any questions. Okay, so moving on to today's topic, why is it actually important to look at skills, to look at how these workplaces are changing? Of course, COVID is just one of the examples of triggers that are influencing how the workforces are changing. But there are also other factors contributing to these changes. These are technological, societal, procedural, or environmental. And all of these different triggers influence a number of work areas that are forming part of a wider system. So we have, of course, we have members of staff, we have knowledge and skills that they need, we have different policies and procedures that are part of the working practices. There are technologies that are used to support everyday work of the workers. There are social human-human interactions in the workplace. There are members of staff who need to interact with each other in various ways in order to get the job done. Of course, this all takes place in a certain working environment, whether it's an office or more currently and maybe a home-based office. But all of these things really interact and are really interconnected. So when looking even in one of these aspects, such as knowledge and skills, we have to also consider what's the impact on these other elements of that wider work system. And this is really something that lies at the core of our approach. So taking this holistic view of the different elements of that system and how it will change as a result of some of these wider changes. Okay. So one of the elements that is important in terms of adapting to change is are the speed and exchange of change. So of course, the extent of change can be quite small, or it can be quite broad, covering a number of different departments or a number of different operations. It can also be something that happens slowly, incrementally, or it can be something that happens suddenly and happens very rapidly. So the change is very big and the change is very rapid. So the response to change and the change itself can be proactive or reactive. The impact of the change can be direct or it can be subtle. And of course, gradual change tends to facilitate adaptation, wealth, and growth. It gives people time to adapt and organizations time to adapt, whilst rapid change is likely to be highly disruptive, and it can create winners and losers. Therefore, having the time to adapt, both for the individuals working in organizations and also for the organizations themselves, is a major factor contributing to the future success or, in fact, failure of the organizations. So organizations need to be prepared for these coming changes. And I think what we saw during COVID is that a lot of that change has been a reactive change, a direct change, and a rapid change. When we see on the next slide, looking at the Kaplan's model, this would be classified as a revolutionary change, as a revolution, because it happened very quickly. It covered a number of different areas, so it was very extensive, it was very rapid, and it was very broad in terms of the different areas that it affected. And here I would like to ask you how your organizations adapted, actually. How, looking at the poll question, we have two. The first question is, how prepared did you feel your organization was when the pandemic hit? How smoothly did it adapt? Do you feel it was very prepared? Was it prepared, slightly prepared, or not at all prepared? And again, you can select your responses in the poll. And the second question is, did you need any new skills as a result of the new way of working during the pandemic? And again, the possible answers, I needed a completely new set of skills. I needed many new skills. I needed some new skills. I did not need any new skills. I will leave you with these two questions and move on with the presentation, but we will come back to your responses at the end of it. So what we are trying to do as part of Coversatile is to move from that situation where we had to respond in a very reactive way to a completely new situation pretty much overnight, where we had to adapt how we work and where we work within a matter of minutes and hours. And this, of course, included both the individuals as well as organizations and the way that they decided the work is going to continue. And what we're trying to do is to move from that change that is a revolution to a change that is more of an adaptation. So that there are things already in place that can help support organizations to be better prepared if something like this happened again. So that the change is more of a realignment to certain ways of working, and it's more of a step-by-step approach where they can adapt more timely and just feel better prepared. So what we're trying to answer, the questions that we're trying to answer as part of our work in Coversatile, if you we can see on the next slide, are things like how can we identify actually the key areas for reskilling and upskilling? What kind of tasks are actually going to be adapted? Do we need to learn new skills? Do we have to change some of the skills that are required? Are the tasks done in a completely new way or just slightly adapted? Are there any new tasks? How do we ensure that workers also adapt to these new conditions in a fast and smooth way? How do we preserve the knowledge of any temporary workers who have been brought in for the purpose of speeding up the production of the vital medical supplies? How do we ensure that people who normally are not part of the process because the process has changed feel prepared in undertaking their new tasks or adapted tasks in a confident and safe way? How can we also accommodate the needs of diverse groups of workers within the same working context? So we can expect in situations where we suddenly need more people being involved, organizations may be taking on also workers from external contexts, external companies with similar skills. And how do we make it possible for them to suddenly work in a completely new working context within a different environmental setting? And finally, what do the organizations themselves need to consider to manage the change process effectively and facilitate smooth transition to new working practices? Okay. So for the organizations to be prepared for the coming changes, both those that are planned and those that are unplanned, it is important to have a standardized methodology to describe and assess the skills and knowledge available in the company. So it's important to have something in place that actually ensures that the skills and knowledge of the workers is somehow tracked, that the organization is aware of the type of skills that are required for specific roles and actually monitors the alignment between the skills available in the company and that needed for the jobs to be done. And to be able to carry out a fast and structured gap analysis in order to respond rapidly to these changes, so that if something happens that requires a sudden change of responsibility or tasks, that they can very quickly understand who they actually need and what kind of tasks are new or adapted, and what kind of new skills are needed, and then provide relevant and timely training to make sure that people feel confident about the change and able to fit with their future roles. And of course, these are things that are being explored by numerous organizations. It's you can see a couple of quotes also on the right. For example, McKinsey and Company said that to emerge stronger from the COVID-19 crisis, companies should start reskilling their workforces now. Adapting employees' skills and roles to the post-pandemic ways of working will be crucial to building operating model resilience. So, of course, there's a lot of research looking at how to build organization resilience and how to become prepared for what the future holds. Okay. So in terms of Coversatile, what we are currently doing is we are working with each of the manufacturing settings that were also explained to you previously in the introduction, also the presentation by Katarina and James. And we're trying to identify, first of all, what are the key training needs that each of these manufacturing settings have? What are some of the challenges related to training and skills that they are experiencing or have experienced as part of COVID-19 pandemic? And to do that, we are also reviewing and analyzing any materials that they have shared with us. We try to compare the aims, contexts, and end users for each of these manufacturing settings. We are conducting task analysis so that we can identify different hazards or preconditions for using specific equipment, so that we can identify the type of roles that are involved in the production process or the use of the equipment or maintenance of the equipment being produced. What are some of the key competencies, and what are some of the different scenarios that are actually in place? And we're trying to identify some preliminary outputs, both specific to each each manufacturing setting, as well as generic that can be applied actually in broader contexts. So you can see on the next slide that some of the examples, things like hazards, for example, they can hazards that we can identify or warnings that we can identify in the instructions can help us in defining some characteristics of the role. So, for example, for the operators that are needed for safe use and operation of the equipment. On the other hand, checklists can be created to support the safety checks during different production and product use phases. So, for example, there may be certain preconditions, whether it's something to do with the worker or the environment in which certain medical equipment is produced or in fact used, that has to be somehow checked so that the equipment can be used in that environment safely. The competency framework, so we use this competency framework quite a lot in our work, and we adapt it to various contexts as needed to make it more customizable. And this kind of competency framework supports identification of specific skills and knowledge areas that are required for working in each of the identified roles, and also understanding the training needed so that the current level of skills can be compared with the future needed levels of skills, and create training pathways that only cover the necessary elements. And of course, we are also comparing different scenarios and working conditions. So, of course, when using the equipment, there may be differences that are purely contextual. So, You may have people around, or you may be in a completely empty environment. And the type of skills that you may need, or the type of knowledge that you may have, may depend on the different context. It may depend on whether it's a closed environment or an open environment, if there are people inside or it's empty, if you're an internal worker who already understands the working environment, or you're brought in as an external member of staff. And of course, there will be differences in situations where your response is proactive and you're using the equipment in a proactive way, without, let's say, an emergency or a rush. And there may be a situation where there has been a spillage or some kind of a problem, medical problem that requires urgent response. Okay. So what we're trying to do with these, as part of this project, is basically to develop a set of generic tools and templates for both individuals and organizations working in various manufacturing settings that can help them and support them in identifying and developing key knowledge, skills, and training required. And this would be supported by examples from each manufacturing setting. So, of course, the lessons that we're taking from our experience working with each of the manufacturing settings being part of Coversatile will help us to then develop materials that are useful for the broader context and can be reapplied also in other manufacturing settings. And some of the examples of planned guidance and training materials include process checklist development, guidance for identification of key production or end user roles and working scenarios, tools for identification of key skills and competencies required. So here again is this comparison of what is the current level of skills within the organization and how is this likely to change in the future, and how do we bridge this gap. Tools that are supporting skills self-assessment by different individuals that help to measure and identify specific training pathways, so that again, in this rapid response where skills need to be gained very quickly, you can target specific areas that are really customized and personalized, let's say, so that you don't cover all of the training materials, but actually cover the things that are crucial for your set of skills. And guidance, more general guidance, let's say, on how organizations can better manage change and also knowledge retention approaches. These kind of materials will be supported by materials and outputs also provided by other Coversatile partners involved in the training work package. And these produced tools, of course, will be aligned with different also production repurposing needs and scenarios. So we also realized whilst working within Coversatile that, of course, sometimes you're modifying an existing process. At other times, you may be adopting a completely new process, or you may be keeping the same process, but the production intensity increases suddenly or later decreases suddenly, and this creates certain challenges. Okay, we can move to the next slide. For the going back to the poll, I can see that for question 1, so how prepared did you feel your organization was when the pandemic hit? How smoothly did it adapt? We have, out of the people who responded, 50% felt prepared and 50% felt only slightly prepared. For the second question, did you need any new skills as a result of the new way of working during the pandemic? 33% said I needed a completely new set of skills, and 66% responded that they needed only some new skills. Thank you very much for these responses. I would like to leave you with the final comment in terms of let's say COVID and actually your responses. So of course COVID creates many challenges, and it has created many challenges for all of us. And I think your responses to the poll also demonstrate this, that there hasn't really been anyone who felt completely prepared. There hasn't really been an organization who knew exactly what to do straight away. But whilst there are a lot of challenges, there are also a lot of opportunities, and it is up to organizations and individuals really to make sure to manage these challenges in the right way, but also make the most of the opportunities. And of course, the way that we are going to continue to work also following COVID is not going to be the same as the work that we experienced pre-COVID. So we are all in the phase of adaptation, and I think I hope that you will all agree with me that this is something that requires joint efforts and consideration that again covers all of these different work areas. So consideration of the type of interactions that people have among each other, the type of work environment in which they work and will work in the future, the type of interactions they have, and the type of technologies that use in their work to support them in this period. Thank you very much again for participating. If you have any questions, we have the session at the end, but also please feel free to reach out through email or LinkedIn, or look up also our details on the Deep Blue websites and contact details. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Katarina. And yeah, as you said, we will have later on the opportunity to answer questions in our panel discussion. That's of course true for the first presentation today as well. So feel free to ask questions. And Katarina, we will meet again later on. Thank you for the time, for the moment. And
thank you.
Yeah. We are going to continue with our third topic of today's webinar, and that's about augmented, mixed, and virtual reality tools supporting systematic knowledge sharing throughout the company. And for that presentation, I'd like to welcome on stage, first of all, Antonio Salis. Good morning, Antonio.
Morning. Morning, everyone.
Antonio is Senior R&D Project Manager at Engineering from Italy, and he's currently engaged in several H2020 research projects, as well as in Horizon Europe, new proposals in ICT and industry. And your focus is on cloud, fog and edge computing, advanced analytics, and cybersecurity. And prior to engineering, you worked in software and integration projects where you played several roles, from developer to system architect with IBM, ST Microelectronics, Video Online, from technical lead and project management with Telecom Italia and Tiscali. So, and you are holding a master's degree in computer science at the University of Pisa. So welcome, Antonio, and you're accompanied by Luca Polato from Over IT. Good morning, Luca.
Good morning, Christian. Good morning, everyone.
So you're responsible at Over IT for management and development of customer portfolios in the utility, industry, and public administration markets, with particular attention on innovative solutions. And you're responsible as well for the development of new opportunities linked to field service management and augmented reality. And as we have just learned from the title, augmented reality is one of the topics. So I'm excited to hear about it. So the floor is yours.
So thanks, Christian, and good morning, everyone. So this is the presentation that is focused on the augmented, mixed, and virtual reality tools that could help in providing advanced technical contents, but also to improve the remote collaboration and knowledge sharing. So we'll start with the production on the presentation will be focused on two parts. The first one explaining the training needs, the knowledge sharing needs, and then we'll present the Space One solution as the way we can produce, we can fit the training, collaboration, and the knowledge sharing needs. We will have some videos, and we complete the presentation with some consideration on the application of extended reality solution in the project. So first of all, let's start with a few words on engineering. Engineering is a global company with 65 offices in Europe, North and Latin America. We offer software and service development, system integration, digital platforms. We have a strong presence in research and innovation. We have more than 400 researchers and 80 live research projects in place. Over IT has been in our group until 2 months ago. So they were our advanced training, advanced reality branch, but they left 2 months ago, but they remain our solid reference for augmented reality and virtual reality solutions since they are top class providers for this kind of technologies. And I have to highlight that developing advanced training and collaboration solution using extended reality is one of the engineering main objectives of the project. So, a few words on background on manufacturing and training needs. In the last 2 years, we had faced the COVID crisis that posed a big challenge to manufacturers. The exceptional scenario created a shortage of medical devices, PPE, ventilators, CPAP, other tools, and manufacturers were asked for a higher degree of flexibility and fast response, and need for fast repurposing and adaptation of available equipment. This adaptation leveraged on the expertise of workers in the use of complex equipment, so a scenario where fast knowledge transfer or sharing between senior and junior workers were mandatory to foster the scaling potential of repurposed working environment. So knowledge sharing on technologies and processes is the key enabler to speed up this change. And these are the main questions that manufacturers faced in past months. How to support junior technicians during maintenance and inspection, how to deal with shortage of skilled resources and training of junior staff, how to facilitate the collaboration and knowledge sharing even remotely. These are some critical aspects to consider. For example, asset complexity. Setup usage requires a deep knowledge where raw manipulation could cause failures or even breaking of critical equipment. At the same time, workers can work in dangerous environments, for example, managing chemical products. In all cases, it's the need to interact easily, better by voice, leaving hands free to easily manipulate equipment. That's a suggestion for extended reality technology. Another aspect is the knowledge gathering life cycle. So let's start from capture moment, the first one, where data needs to be captured, structured. The data could be augmented with other environmental data. Content could be tagged for further use, and using artificial intelligence for data augmentation and tagging. Second step is the enhanced experience, where the content tagging could be applied automatically to many data sources, not only text or numerical data, but also images and video that could be indexed. Then the distributed experience, where all previous steps could be applied and executed in a systematic way in a field. Operators working in different sites could be engaged, so one operator could act as mentor even remotely to another young operator working in another site. Again, artificial intelligence could power several steps in this process. And continuous improvement in collaboration, cascade training, and train the trainer chain. And then I'd say that in all these steps, in all this life cycle, technology acts as an enabler. TLC, for example, 5G, artificial intelligence and knowledge management, and artificial or virtual reality play a major role. Then I'll propose a first poll. So the question that I pose is, have you ever had the need to train new or existing employees or new products or technologies not previously adopted in your company? And which approach did you use? So I'll ask you to answer yes, synchronously, or yes, but asynchronously, yes, with a coaching mentoring approach, yes, based on IT tools, yes, not based on IT tools, or not at all. Then I'll leave the floor to Luca Polato, that will be presenting the Space One solution powered by AI that could answer all these questions. So, Luca, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Antonio. Good morning, everyone. Next, please. Well, just a few words with Over IT. Over IT for 20 years was a part of engineering group. From 2 months, we had the spin-off. We are innovation enabler. We have a very big experience in field service management. We have more or less 500 people, and we are recognized for Gartner, IDC, and Forrester, the major research company in the world. Our business is focused on innovation like AR, GIS, artificial intelligence, and the operation with hands-free. Next, please. Well, I want to start from Gartner. By 2025, over 50% of field service management deployments will include a mobile augmented reality collaboration and knowledge sharing tools, up from less than 10% in 2019. What I mean? For 2 years ago, these technologies have a big implementation in every industry, in every customer, from B2C to B2B. Why? For technician enablement, for just-in-time knowledge, and for accelerated learning. Go ahead, please. Over IT is recognized from Gartner. Why? Because we are the visionary in the Magic Quadrant for the field service management. We are on the top 5 in the field service management critical capability reports, and we know very well the process. We know very well the field service management areas. And for this reason, we recognize in Forrester organization for tech-tied AR and smart manufacturing, and also for IDC, we are a leader in the market, in the utilities market. Next, please. Today, I want to introduce and I want to know you Space One. Space One is the first collaboration product combining augmented reality and artificial intelligence. And today we want to know the artificial intelligence inside the augmented reality and the benefits for these technologies applied in every market, in every operation. Now we want to launch a videos to tell some stories about Space One and augmented collaboration. please. Well, Space One is a product to manage augmented mixed and virtual reality. It's a product to use hand-free, but not also. You can use a smartphone, tablet, or smart glasses. It's a multi-platform and a multi-device. What is the most application areas of Space One? First of all, the extended maintenance area. For extended maintenance area, I mean every area we can support the technician on the field, like a virtual collaboration, for example, in maintenance process, installation, audit, or all process where one or more people or most people you can ask support from the headquarter. I can also share some scheme videos, information, and Space One is integrated with IoT data and artificial intelligence. The second most important area is next, please. Is the next, please. Is the Antonio, next, please. Antonio, next, please.
Can you see?
Yes, another one, please. Okay. Back, please. Yes, stop here. Okay. Then another important technology is artificial intelligence to capture the expertise on field. For example, knowledge creation, automatic data capture, augmented collaboration, and free vocal debriefing. Why? Next, please. To enhance expertise. With the backend of the Space One, we can content tagging powered by artificial intelligence. For example, I can tagging every intervention, every manufacturing or maintenance process. For what? For example, create a automatic debrief or automatic workflow. For distribute this knowledge for every part of every technician in the company, because distribute the expertise is very important to continuous improvement. For example, to have some technician with standard skills and can take in charge every type of work order, and for have the historical contribute for the next for the future, for the next intervention, or for example in next 3-6 months, 1 year, I can take this knowledge and I can look the type of the intervention, the intervention of some asset. Okay, go ahead, please. Now I want to introduce one use case. In this case, the customer is Rail Cargo Group. Rail Cargo is a European leader from rail logistics companies. In this case, enabling employees to perform inspection on freight wagon safety, while storing data for reducing cost related to the reports on quality-related discrepancies. Using the device hands-free, vocal commands. In this case, we use some particularity without internet connection, work offline, and in the critical atmospheric condition. Okay, go ahead, please.
Let's start.
Start inspection. Number of wagons, 10. Confirm. Open camera. Take photo. Open camera. Take photo. Enter code 322. Call support. I'm performing an inspection on a train and there's a strong smell coming from the third wagon.
Show me the wagon number and the labels of dangerous goods. It's ethyl acrylate, a class 3 flammable liquid. The UN number is 1917. See. Let me check the safety distance. To be safe, stay upwind 1 meter from the wagon. I'm sharing with you the safety data sheet. Toxicological information is in section 11.
Close inspection.
Blitz ein. Railcargo Anwendung starten. Inspektion starten. Blitz aus.
Thank you, Antonio. Well done. And now I want to introduce the last use case. Now the technology is not augmented reality, but virtual reality, in order to creating a virtual reality training to improve the way employee experience learning, making it accessible from anywhere. In this case, we can reproduce the same situation like the real situation. We import the 3D models of the assets, and with the immersive visor, we can reproduce the same way and the same procedure to help the technician to make a training and so on. The customer is HCIE, it is the National Institute for Insurance Against Accidents at Works, and this project is a European project. Thank you, Antonio. Please play the video. Well done. Well, last but not least, I want to explain just a benefit of this technology. Well, first of all, engage subject matter experts with relevant expertise in a specialized job task or skill. Accelerate ramp-up times for new worker, narrowing the skill gap. Enable organizational learning and knowledge transfer. And finally, empower frontline workforce with hands-free vocal collaboration and drive productivity, safety, and quality improvements. Well, Antonio, thank you so much. For my side is complete.
I have to thank you, Luca, for the great presentation. I think that has been very useful to understand the potential of extended reality tools. And I have to say that we are working to apply these extended reality tools to bring value to the manufacturing settings of the Coversatile project. So I think that there is great potential. We are working to analyze in deep the different manufacturing settings in order to implement the best possible cases for all of them. And that's all from my side. From our side, we are still waiting for a question even at the panel session. So thank you very much for your attention.
Yeah, thank you, Antonio and Luca, for this nice presentation and the inside views on those technologies. And yes, you're right. So to our audience, if you have any questions, not only to Antonio and Luca, but to all the others as well, please just type them in the Q&A section on the right-hand side. And that leads us to the last part of our today's webinar, and that's exactly the panel discussion. And for that purpose, I would like to invite Katarina and James again, as well as Katarina, to join us here in the group. So welcome back. And in addition, I'd like to welcome Robert Lovash, our project coordinator from STARKI, the Hungarian Institute for Computer Science and Control in Budapest, Hungary. So welcome, Robert.
Hello, good morning, everybody.
So Robert, I mean, we have heard you already in the first webinar, and I guess it's a good conclusion also to have you here at the in the last webinar of 2021. I mean, you have founded the Institute of Cyber Physical Systems at the John Newman Faculty of Informatics. You have been you are a member of the Committee on Informatics Science at the Hungarian Academy of Science, and you are well experienced in Horizon 2020 and upcoming Horizon Europe project. So I guess, yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here again as the coordinator of this project.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
So, I guess we will start with one question we got from the audience. But first of all, Katarina, we had some technical issues in the first presentation, so I guess you would like to comment on the poll results we have received during your presentation. You're on mute.
Thank you, Christian, for introducing this. So let me quickly share the results of the poll. So if you can see my screen. The first poll question from us was whether what digital training tools you're using in your organization most often. And the votes were 50-50 between A and C. So it's web-based training and digital user guides, manuals and instructions. So I guess the presentation today was useful for you. You may have learned something new or something that you're already been using. So thank you for those questions. You may consider using some other technologies in the future. And
yeah, so
sorry. Yeah, I have the second question.
Yeah.
Let me offer this one. So the question was whether you believe that digital tools can help achieve workforce and production ramp up, and most of you have definitely agreed with that. Yeah, can't disagree with that myself. And in the second place, there was an answer that you needed more information, which is of course understandable. There are lots of things you need to weigh in, cost benefit. Analysis needs to be done with that. So hopefully in the upcoming meetings with you and webinars in the next year, we'll be able to expand a little bit on that side of the information. So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you again, Katarina. And I guess connected to that, we have one question. So you explained the use of e-manuals and immerse environment tools quite well. Could you please give more examples of other digital tools to aid production and workforce ramp-up or new product introduction? So maybe you or James, you could elaborate on that topic.
Yeah, I can answer, Christian. So I think some examples would be using manufacturing simulation, like discrete event simulation, where you can analyze at any level of detail, whether that be at the machine level or the line level or even the plant level. For instance, trying to develop manufacturing layouts to increase quality or speed up production. So I think that's one example. Maybe a second one would be virtual commissioning. That's where you use 3D CAD models with virtual processing hardware like PLCs, which handle the processes of manufacturing inside facilities. And they can be used to simulate machine runtime. The main reason for doing this would be to speed up ramp up and deployment at the design stage of manufacturing so that you can catch errors as early as possible. That'd be I guess the most important ones, I think.
Okay, yeah, thank you, James and Katarina. And to Antonio and Luca, the technology the question is, are there technologies that can boost the impact of remote collaboration and knowledge sharing? And you already showed some. So what from your point, maybe the most important ones?
Good point, Christian. I think that, well, we have explained it well. We have described it, extended reality technologies. So virtual environment, head-mounted display, etc., is a mean to improve the quality and effectiveness of training or extended collaboration for technicians and operations, but particularly in on-site solution. I think that another element that it could boost the impact is based on technologies such as the cloud. So doing something that is called the cloudification of applications. So cloudification means adapting existing solutions to be able to be run on the cloud. That could be, obviously, solutions could be developed by scratch to fit the cloud, let's say, but there are also the way to adapt existing solution to run on the cloud. So the cloudification, together with sharing all data, information, and knowledge, enable the consolidation of expertise on treatment in case of emergencies like COVID, and reuse all stuff from everywhere. So advanced training on complex equipment or sophisticated simulations can be used easily, suppose that you have the same equipment. Within the Coversatile, we have the digital technopole that is based on cloud and access the hub that provides all this expertise, which has to configure a digital marketplace. So the cloud acts as the aggregator to collect all lessons learned and join forces against cloud. The same has been applied and been developed also in the Eureka project, another COVID-related H2020 funded project coordinated by engineering, where there is a cloud architecture with a broker layering that increased the multiple supplier engagement and contribution. At the end, we have a federation of content and technology providers to put forces together. In the end, the cloud is a key enabler. And I'd like to mention also that the Gaia-X European initiative, where engineering is a supporting member since day one. We had also a member on the European board quite recently. And the Gaia-X, it's a consortium working to create a data strategy that will allow Europe to exercise its data sovereignty without depending on third parties, creating a cloud infrastructure based on existing standard and open source technology, and to create an ecosystem of data and applications in which member states can exchange information and knowledge. In this way, the cloud infrastructure can help the economic growth of all countries and Europe as a whole, but offering also a precious equipment to rely on to respond swiftly in case of a pandemic. So the cloud is a major driver for this change. And obviously 5G is another tool that could help to reach all people, I mean, the most widest audience in the last mile.
Yeah, thank you, Antonio. I just can agree to that. So EIT Manufacturing is as well member of the Gaia-X Foundation, and we think it's also a huge opportunity. And we're also working in another project apart from that in an Austrian-German consortium on how to implement Gaia-X in production. Yeah, and I guess this is a joint task of Europe. Yeah? And as also, even though we are dealing here with the pandemic, I guess we have elements in our project which are directly linked to those developments, yeah? And we can go further on that. So, we have heard another topic about another topic today. So we learned how important the effective management of corporate skill evolution is. And Katarina, how do you plan to deliver those analysis, this output and this outcome of Coversatile project to the industry?
Okay, thank you. So yes, what we're trying to do with the generic outputs is to, of course, deliver them in a way that is most useful and the easiest to use by many different organizations. So the toolkit will contain a combination of interactive forms, online materials, downloadable PDFs, and also descriptions of available services, as well as other presentation formats as required. So we are working on many different, let's say, suitable formats for the different types of outputs that are in preparation. And these materials will be incorporated into the digital Technopole created by Coversatile. And as you heard before, the digital Technopole is a single entry access cloud platform that is being developed within the project. And if you're interested to know a bit more about that, you can have a look at the Coversatile website, or also listen to the first webinar where we describe in detail, well, my colleagues describe in detail from the project who are involved in the development of Digital Technopole, the different components of that platform. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Katarina. And yeah, for me, that's also the message. Okay, we are launching the Digital Technopole quite soon, and that will be our instrument to exploit our services to make it available to you. And this also leads me then to the question to our coordinator, Robert. And yeah, I mean, we are now starting the second half of Coversatile. And what can our audience expect from us in 2022?
Yes, it's a very good question. And as you could see during this fantastic webinar series, the consortium has put quite solid results on the table in the first year of the project. Just to highlight one of these from the today presentations and discussions, the extended, augmented, or mixed virtual reality solutions, along with cloud technologies, as Antonio mentioned, may significantly help the manufacturing companies to ramp up more workforce and have different problems. And also, As you mentioned, as a teacher at the university, I am 100% convinced about the usefulness of these presented approaches and tools at different cyber-physical systems and CAD-weighted subjects in our curriculum as well. Okay, but turning back to the question, the next year, our audiences should expect to see more from us concerning business models. For example, how to join the Coversatile marketplace called Digital Technopole, or another example, how manufacturing SMEs could adapt the silicon face mask production technology. So we are going to launch this Digital Technopole based on cloud technologies as a single entity access to technology and services for European SMEs. At times of crisis and when repurposing of production lines is needed on the short notice. And well, unfortunately, we are still witnesses not only of cross-border health threats, but energy crises, natural disasters, and other situations as well. And they will continue to influence our lives. So, but the preparedness and response to such emergencies will largely depend on projects like Coversatile and rapid innovation and future-proof technologies. As part of these webinars, for example, we have the additional supply chain simulations for medical ventilators produced in Europe and other types of solutions. And just to make the long story short, within Coversatile and through our continuous cooperation between research institutes and industry involving different digital innovation hubs as well from Europe, we will continue to develop and future-proof these technologies. And finally, I'd like to take the opportunity to announce that one of the first steps for our audiences to engage even further with us is to participate in the Marathon event in the spring. So please keep following us on different social media channels and keep in touch. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. I just can complement to that I guess we will see a lot of other invention and opportunities in the coming year. And so please join us on Twitter, on LinkedIn. Feel free to also look at our website to get the newest information. Having said that, I would like to thank you all for today's participation in the fourth webinar of 2021. And yeah, so I wish you all a nice Christmas time, and then we see you again with new energy in 2022. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.